Hello my good people, and welcome to the Authentic Leadership video lesson, brought to you by yours truly, Nicholas Nanada. So, let's slow it down and ask ourselves a quick question. What is authenticity? What are these words or traits that pop up into our mind when we hear the word authenticity? What are those words that pop up into our mind? Think to ourselves. And that's going to be the first question I'm going to ask you today. What is authenticity to you? Alright, cool. So thank you for, allowing your insight. Now it's my turn. And when looking up this topic of authenticity, there's just so many sources and just so many definitions. But the key thing that I got from this is the quality of being real and true to yourself and to others, allowing their creativity and potential to continue and add on to the goal and path at hand. You're an open book. You want others' points of view and you want others' creativity to, correlate with your goal. But at the same time, this allows me to reflect on Milena's choice of allowing me to do this video lesson for you guys. And it really shows that type of authentic leadership. She's allowing her followers, her students, her staff and employees do what they would like to do and allow their creativity to aid on to the goal. It's not telling me what to do. Hey Nico, you're gonna do it this way, you're doing it alone, you're screwed. But it's saying, hey, Nico, do what you gotta do. I wanna listen to what you have to say and the best way you could handle it and the best way you could explain it to others, right? That's what I like to think about. In a 1996 study on authentic leadership, Hoy, Hoffman, Sabo, and Bliss, that's not a Disney movie, I'm looking at it here, they mentioned authenticity can be described as an expression of one's own convictions, accompanied with acceptance of responsibility for one's own decisions. You're putting it simply as you're being true to your own personality, values, and spirit, regardless of the pressure that you're under to act otherwise. You're honest with yourself, you're honest with others, and you take responsibility for your mistakes. Your values and ideals, actions are aligned, giving an overall direction of everybody. Everybody's on the same goal and feeling to that end goal. Everybody wants to feel that pleasure of the end goal, so why not? Authentic leadership is a style of leadership that focuses on the transparent and ethical behavior and encourages open sharing of information needed to make decisions while accepting others' inputs. You're continuing that open book type of role. These behaviors, authentic leaders can build strong and honest relationships in which team members can trust and follow their leader. Authentic leaders can typically inspire, trust, and motivate their workers because of that constant and authentic presentation of their own leadership. Leading from the distance is yesterday's game. It's from the past, managing from behind. Now we want to go inside the trenches, roll up our sleeves, and get the job done. This was directly displayed in COVID when you think about it. The vast amount of hotels that did not have any housekeeping or was lacking on that, these GMs or these higher managers had to come in and do that job. They had to roll up their sleeves and continue the goal set forward. Leaders that are great possess these authentic traits, I would say. I would love for you guys to add them to your own repertoire, so you could be a great leader yourself. But these great leaders, in that sense of authentic leadership, have a strong moral compass. They allows others' needs and wants to display other than their own in that sense. They're putting the needs of the business, its employees, and its customers, and its partners ahead of their own. Balanced processing unit. It's like, you're getting so many wants and needs from the external party, it's going to affect or complement your goal. And it might be, in that sense, not ethical to your kind of view and your values, right? But you're still going to keep them with a grain of salt in that sense of allowing them to be, appreciated still to that goal. So it's being open to all points of views, even those that may contradict your own views, but it's wholeheartedly assessing them in the decision-making process. You're still allowing them to help. you're still cherishing their want to help, and you're still treasuring that they would love to help. So at least take that forward. Then you could implement that into the lesson that you needed to bring forward and to the goal that wants to be completed at hand. Another great characteristic I'd like to bring up is relational transparency. And this is engaging respect by valuing honesty and transparency across the workplace, whether it's around celebrating wins, providing constructive feedback, or even admitting they've made mistakes of their own. Is being interpersonal and honest. Being an authentic leader possesses this self-awareness. It's admitting to their strengths and weaknesses and not being afraid to solicit feedback from across the business, and showing genuine empathy in their words and actions. Their core values and emotions and motives are identified with the whole. Having emotional control and emotional intelligence is favored when you think about it, because if you're allowing your emotions to take control of the decisions at hand, how are you going to get them done efficiently? An authentic and transformational leader can deliver honest feedback without letting their personal dissatisfaction cloud their judgment and actions. And of course, again, a great listener is admired too, because you don't want somebody who's just gonna listen and then run away from it. You want somebody who's actively listening, gaining your trust. Great leaders have these listening skills. They're able to properly interpret the needs and wants of the team and customers. They also make decisions that reflect their personal values and provide lasting value by improving the job satisfactions around them. Now I'm going to be talking about the world leaders of the past and present. These peoples affected the current tense in that sense. Their views and their actions affecting of how we live our lives today. I'll be talking about the likes of Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, Annie McCaulley, and Warren Buffett. Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights legend. In the 1950s, Dr. King led the movement to end segregation and counter prejudice in the United States by peacefully protesting. Imagine that. Peacefully protesting that time? Dr. King's self-confidence and passion inspired others and courage to be a fearless leader, especially by putting himself in danger many times in his short life. Despite being imprisoned more than 30 times, he did not change his stance, but navigated to achieve his goals despite these obstacles. Dr. King believed in mobilizing large crowds to overcome these obstacles. Fire hoses can't deal with millions of people. Yes, the water will give out. Dogs can't bite a million people. The United States Army wouldn't know how to deal with a million people. And these were his words. Next is a great inspiration of the man Gandhi. He used self-awareness as a way to help his fellow countrymen follow their hearts and to stand up for what they believe in, even if the task seemed unreachable. Gandhi was genuine and authentic, and he did not want to pretend to be somebody he was not. He played the role of what he thought he should be as the leader. Gandhi had a true passion for his homeland and truly wanted to see his fellow people liberated. Next is the entertainment icon of Oprah Winfrey. Oprah never had it easy. She was a leader first though. There was no ounce of celebrity, fame, or money before she was that leader. She had to arrange her situation in a way that would benefit her in the future. Her past situation was traumatic. She deals with things today, and the way she's the woman of today is truly inspirational. It was her extraordinary display of leadership, persistence, determination, fight, and sheer grit that helped her achieve all of her billions. Speaking of billions, we have the man Warren Buffett. He's known as the extremely savvy businessman and investor, but he actually coined the term stakeholder because it's not only an investor, but an employee and a person of the community. Following in these inspirational footsteps, we have Annie McCaulley from Xerox, the office supply firm that has yearly revenues of billions. She saved her company from bankruptcy, which was tremendous, and had these levels of authenticity that nobody really expected. It's because these traditional ways are too traditional. you have to involve somebody new and somebody from a different role. And this role actually started from the HR perspective. Her organizational skills and openness she attracted from the board, recognized her leadership skills and saved them from filtration and bankruptcy, selling off non-core assets into research and development. Next is your favorite legend and hero, Dubrovniko Nikolic, and probably my neck of the woods of the Bay Area is Steve Jobs, the man who wasn't afraid to tell people that their actions were not aligned with the current actions of Apple, but he always told people and showed that he was himself, and that allowed other people to be themselves, right? That is such a good atmosphere to be around, because he thought Apple's goal was ethical and towards the benefit of humanity and their creativity. Now is the topic of how to develop this authenticity in your leadership style. A consistent pattern of positive psychological capacities and positive ethical climate to foster greater self-awareness, internalized moral perspective, balanced processing of information, relational transparency on the part of leaders working with followers, fostering positive self-development by Walumba Abilo Gardier 2018. Northouse mentioned these two positive kind of traits you want to be implementing to your leadership style of authenticity. He mentions positive psychological capacities and a positive ethical climate. These positive psychological capacities is just being healthy psychologically. In your mind, you want to be always reaffirming the confidence, hope, optimism, and resilience that you'll get that thing done. A positive ethical climate is moral reasoning capacities. It's having this right and wrong in your head, promoting justice and the greater good. If you want to develop these authentic kind of traits and just develop authenticity, you want to know your purpose. You want to know your leadership values, and you want to follow your heart. You want to establish genuine relationships, and you want to demonstrate self-discipline in anything you do. You are your best person in that sense. You're always going to be talking with yourself, but it's always good to get some interpretation from others and to get help from others, to get their insight. But always having these kind of 5 steps in your head of knowing your purpose, knowing your leadership values, knowing your heart, creating genuine relationships, inquiring in that sense of self-discipline always in anything you do, you will always be an authentic and your true self. A wise and inspirational quote I read was, "No one could be authentic by trying to imitate somebody else. You can only learn from others' experiences, but there is no way you could be successful when you're trying to be like somebody else. Always be your true self, and others will be their true selves back towards you." Next is the topic of, and the question and test of, who's the authentic leader, Bob or Samantha? We have one gentleman named Bob. He is a strict and classic man who focuses on the output and input he gets from his employees. He's the head of logistics and believes in supervising his subordinates closely after he assigns them their tasks. He also promotes them various incentives on completion of their work. If any worker fails to deliver, Bob gets upset and denies them of their due leave or weekly offs. That is a different man. His subordinates know that better not to get on his wrong side because he has that bad side. And on the other hand, we have a lady called Samantha. Samantha is head of market research. She believes in giving complete freedom to her subordinates. She places a lot of trust in her employees and gives them autonomy to their work as per their style of work. After explaining to them in high detail, the workers know what to do and do them at their own pace. Sam's subordinates love her leadership style and hold her in admiration. They look up to her for guidance and inspiration. Who, out of the two, is the authentic leader? Super! You answered the correct response of Bob, and I'm most definitely kidding. Next, we're going to talk about the downsides and kind of negative views of authentic leadership. These negative events, inauthenticity, happen when you are not so familiar in the environment at hand. You're really having to ask people what is going on. Your feedback you're getting is just negative and you cannot do anything about it because you're authentic and trying to be true to yourself and true to the goal at hand. As well as authenticity doesn't mean sharing everything. Sharing everything definitely ruins trust and ruins that friendship or ruins that relationship at hand, I would say. And as said by this 2009 report by Seaman and Slattery, these names today, the dark side of leadership is defined as an ongoing pattern of behavior exhibited by a leader that results in overall negative organizational outcomes based on the interactions between the leader, followers, and the environment. And that's according to Sleeman and Slattery. Thank you for watching, my good people, and have a great rest of your day. I know this was a long one, but hey, you stuck around and was actively listening, and I really appreciate that. And thank you for Milena for allowing me to do it this way. So hey, let's continue this good vibe in DBK and Dubrovniko, signing out. Before leaving, of course, do we have any questions? Is there any questions the class would like to ask?